love the music. Welcome to CBS 8 Plus and a throwback special. This time we enjoy the history of the San Diego Padres. Hello, I'm John Howard. CBS 8 has been broadcasting for more than 70 years. Our video vault allows us to relive the good times and great memories here in San Diego, and it's no exception when it comes to the Padres. Batting leadoff in our dive into the archives is a story we first aired over 20 years ago. In 2003, we sat down with Padres historian Bill Swank to talk about the early years at Lane Field, Steve Garvey's historic home run, 2 World Series appearances, and the career of Tony Gwynn, who had recently retired.
Lane Field was all made out of wood. It was all painted green, and it was a great place to get splinters in your butt. Being on the water, it was just decaying, and then the termites loved to eat it. From there, the Padres moved out to what we now know as Fashion Valley. The old days, when you went to ball games, there was always, no matter where you sat, there was always a post in front of you. It wasn't like that at Westgate. In 1967, they built a new stadium, and the idea was they built it for the Chargers, but it was also to try and lure a franchise from either the American or the National League. Then in '69, the Padres began their tenure. The Padres have had an interesting history because since 1969, the team that's won the most games has been the New York Yankees. The team that's won the fewest games has been the San Diego Padres. So you say, the Padres, they got to be the worst team ever. But there are a lot of teams that haven't been to 2 World Series, and the Padres have.
Pitch on the way to Garvey. Hit.
Garvey's home run. I mean, that's something that, it's always going to stick with you.
The Padres win it!
The crowd, just in unison, on their feet, screaming really to the top of their lungs. It was absolutely electric.
I think that was the most dramatic moment here at Qualcomm Stadium.
Crowd reaction in the '84 and the '98 World Series.
Never lost heart, and they refused to go home.
And in watching Tony Gwynn win 8 batting titles, those are the best of times. I mean, I'll never forget that. It'll stick with me the rest of my days.
Some great memories there. What I remember about the 1998 World Series at Qualcomm Stadium is how loud it was. And to hear 67,000 people sing "God Bless America," it left a lasting impact. All right, let's move along now. June of 1978, the Major League Padres were in their 10th season, mature enough to bring back players from the inaugural 1969 team for an old-timers game. Joining the 69 Pods on the field were invited legends like Willie Mays, Eddie Matthews, and Maury Wills. The game ended up a pitcher's duel. CBS 8's Laurie was there to tell us the play of the game featured Dave "Soupy" Campbell testing the arm of Willie Mays.
The Padres celebrated their 10th anniversary today with an old-timers game that brought back the original Padres to San Diego Stadium. The real names out of baseball's past presented the opposition: Maury Wills, Willie Mays, Eddie Matthews, Jim Bunning, and many, many more. No doubt there'll be a run on Ben Gay at the nearest drugstore tonight. Some of these guys haven't used these baseball muscles in some time. The game ended in a scoreless tie, the only real threat coming in the Padres first. Dave Campbell doubled. Larry Stahl, remember him? Well, he singled, and he sent Campbell to third. But Soupy thought his legs better than Willie Mays' arm. A semi-collision at the plate, the Mays throw a strike to get Campbell. Like I said, there'll be some sore muscles tonight.
The Ben Gay line is classic there, and apropos, if I do say so myself. All right, time now to flash back to 1979. 50,000 fans on hand for opening day, including the San Diego Chicken. CBS 8's Janet Zappala was there.
The first game of the season at San Diego Stadium is a particularly exciting one. You've got people hustling and bustling, the smell of popcorn and hot dogs in the air, and a stadium filled with 50,000 anxious fans. The first time for anything is always exciting, and the first home game of the season was no exception. Baseball fans began trickling into the stadium at about 4 this afternoon, and by 6:30 it was everybody heading every which way. From a spectator's point of view, it was hard to tell what was more important, getting a seat or buying popcorn. Perhaps it was preparing that mouth-watering hot dog, the one that tastes the best at baseball games and amusement parks. Whatever it was, there was no doubt that excitement was the order of the night.
Balloons going off and everything, it's really neat.
It's really fun. I love to go. I don't get to go very often because I work nights, so I'm really excited to get to go.
Special night for you.
It's very special. Kids are home, the babysitter, and I'm here, and yay!
What's special about a baseball game to you?
Get a lot of popcorn and stuff.
You excited?
Yeah.
How come?
Because I want the Padres to win.
Spirits were up at this first home game of the season, and so too were the balloons. In this case, up, up, and away. But after all the pregame activities were through, it was down to some serious baseball watching. For the most part, anyway. How does the song go? Take me out to the ball game and get fat on popcorn and hot dogs and talk to chickens. How you doing tonight? He's some ham, isn't he? You having a good time?
Thank you, Janet. Oh, thank you.
What else can I say? I'm Janet Zappala, reporting from San Diego Stadium for News 8.
Something you may not know about the San Diego Chicken, he was a journalism major at San Diego State. At one point, he appeared at 520 consecutive Padres games. That was when he was at the peak of his career. I commend Ted Gianolis for that pun. He taught me that. All right, prior to the Chicken hatching his antics, the Padres were purchased by McDonald's magnate Ray Kroc in 1972. In 1980, Ted Leitner and News 8 photojournalist Tom Warren gave us an up-close experience going on the road with the team. We enjoy it again now as Ted and Tom take us on board Ray Kroc's personal 727, inside the locker room for Kurt Bavakua's antics, and out to breakfast with Randy Jones. The question is, can Randy stay on budget with his daily meal per diem?
So you want to come back on one road trip? I told my wife that one time. She came, I think when she went to New York with me for 3 days, and the second day she was ready to come home.
Okay, so you thought it was glamorous and fun to be a Major League ball player and travel around the country on Ray Kroc's very own personal 727. I thought so too. But the players, most of them, think it's a drag. Even with Air Kroc and $50 a night hotels and expense money, the young players dislike the travel, the veteran players hate it. Jerry Coleman has been at this almost his entire adult life. A New York Yankee player, Yankee and Padre broadcaster, now Padre manager. He thinks so too. Too many hours of travel, too many hours of boredom, too many hours away from the family.
I don't really pay much attention to it anymore. I know that tomorrow we're going to be in Atlanta, and on Friday we're going to be in Los Angeles, and I just, you become a robot after a while, and you just follow the crowd. So it isn't that bad. I don't like being away from home. That's the thing I don't like. The traveling part of it is incidental. It's part of my job, and I really accept it as it is. It's harder now than it was when I was playing, I assure you.
This Padre trip first stopped San Francisco, a 4-game series with the Giants. Then it's on to Atlanta, back to Los Angeles, then home to San Diego. Okay, it does sound tiring, but this is not Dubuque. This is San Francisco, city by the bay, I left my heart, etc. If the players can't have fun in San Francisco, they can't have fun.
We got them naked for the 80s right here. Come on in, gang. Take a look. Why not? Totally new.
Game time, finally, on the first day of the trip, so the players' moods are fine. But check them about a week from now when they lose 3 straight to Atlanta. Hostile. Losing magnifies one of the major complaints of the family men on the road. After baseball, there is nothing to do.
Myself and Randy Jones, we go out and go to a movie once in a while, go out and have dinner, and we sit around in a room and play cards. Me and Freddie Kendall and Randy, we play cards at night after a game or something. But there's not really too much else to do, and right around September it gets kind of boring, especially if you're 20 games out of first place.
Herndon going with it. Long run for Turner, and he won't catch up with it.
Honestly, most Padre players have told me they would just as soon play all their games at home and never even see the road, with the planes, the buses, the hotels, the idiotic fans. There is one glaring exception, though. Left-hander Gary Lucas, who is a rookie, unaffected, unassuming, loving every minute of it, because it's his first year in the major leagues with the first-class accommodations after years in the minor leagues with the third-class accommodations.
I remember the longest bus ride I ever took was, I believe, to Shreveport, Louisiana in '78 from Amarillo, and it took us about 18 hours all total with stops. And it's great. I love every minute of it and enjoying every minute of it, from the plane flight to life around the hotel and so forth. They take good care of you up here. It's something you dream about, and once you get here, you really appreciate it. And me, myself especially, because I've gone through the long bus rides and the $6 a day meal money and trying to scramble to find McDonald's or Jack in the Box or something like that and feeling that I had a pretty good meal. It's something that I really appreciate now that I'm in the big leagues.
Speaking of money, in addition to their salaries, on the road, the players get $29.50 a day for meals, plus $99.50 a week for expenses, which sounds good, unless you want to eat. In the hotels, that's impossible, as we learned in this Breakfast with Randy Jones in San Francisco. I mean, check out the menu at this hotel in Frisco. 2 eggs, over greasy, $3.10. The Eggs Benedict, even better, $5.65. Of course, you can get a cup of coffee with it for $1.50. The ham and cheese sandwich is $4.25, and a lousy hamburger steak, $13.50.
Well, the per diem, isn't enough. You always go above your per diem. I've been doing that for years, though, because just basically the per diem will get you through if you like peanut butter and jelly.
Not only that, but how bad is the food? Your breakfast was caca.
Oh, wasn't that great? had to beat my bacon so it didn't walk off my plate.
I love turkey!
Hey, you guys cut it out, man. I'm trying to make myself a star here.
A little insanity, which you have to keep things light. And the Padres have it in number 7, Kurt Bavacqua. And you and I both know that playing baseball and traveling is not really work like the players think. But a San Diego to San Francisco to Atlanta to Los Angeles to San Diego trip does get a little old, and you have to have someone to keep the players loose. This is that someone. Bavacqua will do anything for a prank, and has, and finds humor in any situation. Even players' fear of flying and crash landings.
We were on a flight when I was in Pittsburgh in '74 from Sarasota, Florida to St. Louis, Missouri. And I think we were the only plane in the air because they had tornadoes, thunderstorms in the whole area. There were no commercial flights at all. There were prayer beads out. Richie Zist held on to the seat so tight, I think he crushed the handles in and you couldn't put them back anymore. Dale Maxwell and Bob Robertson were standing up in the back of the plane hollering that we were all going to die. And Manny Sanguillen was actually on his knees praying. He didn't care about the seat belts.
Have you done any crazy stuff on the road? Minor leagues, major leagues?
Oh, I don't have to be on the road to do that.
So the Padre players are fairly unanimous. They don't like the road with the planes, the buses, hotel lobbies, food, and all that. You and I both know it would be nice to do it if we could get it, as long as we didn't have to do it that often. The Padres, though, they left again today to start it all over again. Ted Leitner, News 8 with the Padres on the road en route to Pittsburgh.
First-class hotel rooms at $50 a night. My, how prices have changed. In January of 1984, the beloved Ray Kroc passed away. Sadly, he would miss what would become the most successful season in Padres history to date. We look back now at a montage of the 1984 season. An opening day report from Susan Lichtman featuring the Navy Leapfrogs, ushers in tuxedos, and the chicken arriving in a limo. Hal Clement takes us inside the locker room to see new uniforms that honored Kroc. And then Susan gives us a wrap on the excitement of winning the National League pennant and the love fans showed for the team after the disappointing loss to the Detroit Tigers in the World Series.
The opening fireworks display was in memory of the Padres' biggest fan, the late Ray Kroc. And then cheers from the crowd as 11 members of the Navy's Leapfrog team appeared out of the sky, parachuting into the stadium. The ushers wore white tuxes for the event. The chicken made a rather classy entrance wearing black. And then there were the fans. Why have you brought this rose bush to the stadium.
For Steve Garvey, he is a rose all in his own classification, and it's our way of saying thanks for being special.
Yes, there is a lot of action going on the playing field, but there is as much, if not more, going on right here in the stands.
It's Padre time! Everybody needs a Padre cap!
The food's a big hit this year. Servo Mission's $4 million in improvements appears to be paying off.
Last year they were bad. This year they've improved. Look, watch this.
But it's the team these 48,000 people came to see. How great are the Padres?
They're only the greatest.
We're going to go all the way. Absolutely.
And with the season opener 5-1 win over the Pirates, you may just be right. Susan Lichtman, News 8 at the stadium.
The locker room this morning was neater than it would be later in the day, emptier and quieter. And yet a locker room on opening day, even without people, is filled with anticipation and memories and excitement.
He hit it way back. It's going. It is a home run. Oh, Doctor!
The lockers are filled with the tools of the trade, gloves that haven't made an error yet and bats that haven't missed a pitch. And next to Kurt Bavacqua's locker, for reasons that only Kurt could explain, are his golf clubs. Good for hitting low pitches, I guess. There are familiar things everywhere, familiar names, reminders that some things haven't changed, and some things have changed. New names, new to this locker room at least, complete with reminders of where they were before. All locker rooms change over the years. Lockers don't even lock anymore. They don't even have doors. Times change.
One of the changes this year involves the uniforms. For the first time in years, the uniforms will button instead of being pullovers. And for the first time in years, the uniform pants will be held up by belts.
All in the name of style and creating just a few more problems for Ray Peralta, who's been the Padres equipment manager since the beginning.
Well, our big problem is going to be buttons. I'll probably be sewing on buttons every day, plus belts, which means every time the uniforms go out, either the player will pull them off or I'll pull them off.
Ray will cope, he always does, and he, like everyone connected with the Padres, is full of optimism, thinking that this may be the year when the Padres' promise becomes reality.
Kicks and deals. McReynolds hits it deep to left center field. Way back is Maddox. It's a home run for McReynolds.
Oh, and on the uniform sleeves this year, the initials R.A.K. in memory of Ray Kroc. Mr. Kroc would have liked that. He would have liked being in the locker room this morning, too.
After an embarrassing show in Chicago, the Padres came home with 2 strikes against them and what seemed like insurmountable odds to come from behind, to win 3 in a row and capture the National League pennant.
God was looking after the Cubs while they were in Chicago, and I think he's going to be looking after the Padres while we're at home.
If they can win 2 there, we can win 3 here.
We certainly can, because dreams are what this team's made of, and on October 6th, the Padres woke up to find those dreams alive.
1-1 pitch. A one-hopper to Nettles, to Wiggins, and the Padres have the National League pennant. Oh, Doctor, you can hang a star on that, baby.
There was hardly time to revel in the win, as all attention immediately turned to Detroit.
World Series. World Series. You got it. World Series. Our Pods are gods. In Pod, we trust.
Thousands of fans, their emotions heightened by the Motown frenzy, camped out for days at the stadium, hoping to garner some World Series tickets. Ticket sales were brisk, scalping was blatant, and Padre pandemonium was booming.
What are you gonna eat? Turkey! How are you gonna eat it? Rah, rah, rah!
I've been here since 8:30, and they say
For a T-shirt?
For a T-shirt.
Why?
This is the first time it's ever happened to San Diego. This is history here.
We're not afraid of no tigers. We're Tiger Busters.
He lives on Bud Light. I'm living on Bud. And lots of popcorn and peanuts and sunflower seeds.
And we're all living on love for the Padres.
Yeah. Lots of love, because they're the best, and they're going to win the World Series, no doubt about it.
The Tigers won Game 1 of the World Series on Larry Herndon's two-run homer. But the Padres came back in Game 2 with Kurt Bavacqua's three-run homer.
Rupert Jones is back. It's gone. A three-run homer for Bavacqua.
And then it was off to Detroit and disaster as the Padres starting pitchers stopped everything.
And a scoreless ball game is not going to be scoreless for long, as Lawler just didn't have it.
There's no alibis or excuses for it. We haven't pitched well, and we're just going to have to turn it around.
We're talking about a sweep. They were talking about winning 4 straight probably before it started. We'll be back tomorrow.
The Padres came back twice and lost. But they came home last night winners, loved by a town that had latched on to their dream.
Fans, they really supported us, and when the chips were down, they were behind us all the way, and you know, they really turned out to be great fans. The people that think that San Diego's real laid back and they don't have fans, well, they really don't know. They should be here right now to see.
These fans are the greatest fans in the country, and despite the disappointing day, this makes it all worthwhile.
I just love them. They're just the best in the world, really.
I will always remember being on campus at San Diego State when the Padres clinched the '84 National League pennant. My fraternity brothers and I were huddled around a portable radio along with members of an opposing intramural football team. We agreed to start the game late as we all sat on the bleachers listening to the final inning and a half as the Padres knocked off the Cubs to clinch the series berth. Great stuff. All right, let's continue down memory lane now. John Culea gives us a montage of opening day results from 1984 to 1989.
I think it's going to be a fantastic year.
Pennant fever.
With Shaw and Dravecki and the rest of them, and with the Goose relieving, we should do it.
That would be prophetic. 84 would be the Padres' only pennant. Here's the home opener, Tony Gwynn knocking in Alan Wiggins, who would later knock himself out of baseball with drug abuse. Probably the worst trade ever was Kevin McReynolds being sent to the Mets. Here's his home opener, homer. And if baseball was only played in April, Carmelo Martinez would be a Hall of Famer. His home run beat the Pirates that opening night. Goose Gossage came on to get the save. The next year began with another home opener victory, this time over the Giants. 1985 had Steve Garvey on the club. The catcher was Terry Kennedy, who had a homer that night. And yes, Carmelo Martinez was hot in April.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Carmelo. Line drive, deep left field. Leonard going back. It's gone.
Cincinnati in town for the 1986 home opener. Lousy start. Dave Parker hit a monster homer off Eric Shaw. Jerry Royster was with the Pods, and look who he gets in with a base hit. The Bipper, Bip Roberts, in his rookie season. The game winner came from a guy named Flannery, a hit over the drawn-in outfielders with the bases loaded.
I didn't think I was going to have another chance, and I did get another chance, and if I'd have blown it there, I might have torn a uniform out and called the day off.
The home opener in '87 started with 3 bangs. First Marvell Wynn, then Tony Gwynn, and then John Kruk.
Into the windup, the giant right-hander fires, and Kruk hits one to left field. That's got distance, going back, it's out of here! 3 in a row! Oh!
But a guy by the name of Tom Gorman gave up a homer. The Pods lost in 12 innings to the Giants. The Dodgers came into town for the '88 home opener. Andy Hawkins, the Padre pitcher, roughed up by Mike Marshall, Kirk Gibson, and Mike Scioscia. But the big hit for San Diego came from John Kruk, a grand slam home run to put the Padres in front. And the save came from someone most people believe could still be here. That's Mark Davis striking out Kirk Gibson. Last year's home opener, not a happy beginning. That was Kevin Mitchell pulverizing an Eric Shaw black and blue plate special. Robbie Alomar in his rookie season got a hit to drive in Benito Santiago, and then later Santiago would touch all the bases with this home run. However, Kevin Mitchell came back to haunt his ex-teammates. This double scored 2, and then Mike Lacoste got Santiago looking into outer space, and that was it. Giants 5, Padres 3. San Francisco started on top, and in '89 ended there.
Always enjoy opening day. It's like the first breath of a marathon that doesn't end until the chill of October rolls around. All right, we change gears now to Tim Flannery, a versatile player for the Padres for 10 years. He was a player on the '84 World Series team and third base coach of the '98 World Series team. Between his playing and coaching years, Flannery spent 4 years as a feature reporter here at CBS 8. His segment was called Good News, and in the segment we're about to see, Flannery talks about major leaguers playing for the love of the game as opposed to the excessive sums of money they were making back in 1991.
Little League pledge, guys.
Baseball has been a part of our lives since the first day we made solid contact. Or the first time we felt the thrill of crossing home with the winning run. We played because it was fun. And that's the same reason these guys got into it. So to enjoy watching big league ball, you need to remember that. And forget they might be making $6.2 million over the next 3 years. It's easy to expect a hit every time and a strike every pitch when you know what kind of money these guys make. But even a 300 batting average superstar fails 7 out of 10 times, and players didn't get into this because of money.
I play because I love to play. That's why I played as a kid. I mean, I didn't get to in Little League because I knew that by the time I got to 1991, they were going to be passing out this kind of money.
It's still every kid's dream. I think you can listen to a little kid and ask him what he wants to do, and a lot of them will say, I want to be a big league ball player. And because he wants to be a big league ball player, not because of the money.
Free agency and arbitration, combined with owners that can't budget, have caused salaries to skyrocket. But do you really fault the players for taking what they're given?
I feel like $4 million right now is above, probably above what I think I'm worth.
Now, the ones that don't appreciate what they're making, or the Ricky Hendersons of the world who walk out of camp because $3 million a year isn't good enough, that's another story. And even I want to scream at them, but then I figure they're going to get theirs. They're missing the real reason we play baseball anyway. Tim Flannery, News 8.
Very interesting in that piece. Tony Gwynn questions if he's worth $4 million in 1991. Now, 33 years later, Padre star Manny Machado averages nearly $32 million per year, and his career batting average is 59 points lower than Gwynn's. They're numbers that simply make my head spin. All right, let's jump to the late 90s. 14 years after making their first World Series, the Padres make it back to the Fall Classic in 1998. As Steve Price shares in multiple reports here, Padres players couldn't get over how loud Qualcomm Stadium was in the series against the Braves. Padre Jim Leyritz enjoys a trip back to New York where he played with the Yankees, and the team reflects after getting swept by the Bronx Bombers in the World Series.
If you don't think San Diegans are excited about the Padres, listen to this. Sunday's crowd of 64,898 at the Q cheered on the Pods from the first pitch to the last out.
I never experienced anything like yesterday. That was outstanding. That was beautiful. I mean, when Hoffy came in, it went crazy. I never been to anything except a Super Bowl, but for your home team, that's incredible.
Waving towels, holding signs, banging noisemakers. It was quite a workout.
I hurt my arm just cheering them on the other day, so I know it means a lot, and it means a lot for us too. It just lifts everybody's spirits up in the community.
Now it's off to Atlanta for the National League Championship Series, and the fans can't stay away. About 50 of them came by Qualcomm Stadium just to watch the team load onto their airport-bound buses.
Vonnie, Brispochi, Trevor. I'm still waiting to see Kevin Brown. He's my favorite. I'm your #1 fan.
Brown finally showed up, but he knows there's still a lot of work to do.
And let's hope we give them reason to be here screaming and yelling at the end of October.
The rowdy crowd has pumped all the Padres up, especially Jim Leyritz, who's hit a home run in San Diego's last 3 games.
You know, it's one of those things that I don't want to wake up. You know, I like I told my wife last night, I said, I don't want to wake up yet. You know, it's one of those things, hopefully it'll continue, and we'll see what happens.
The Padres headed to Atlanta this morning in 2 chartered 727s. They'll get the night off, then take batting practice tomorrow. But right now, they're still flying high from the biggest and noisiest baseball crowd San Diego has ever seen. They may call Yankee Stadium the house that Ruth built, but it's the Padres' Jim Leyritz who feels at home.
I was pretty well received here, and I feel pretty safe going out in this town. And like I said, I have a lot of close friends here and a lot of good memories. And even though I'm coming back as the enemy this time as far as baseball goes, off the field, things are still the same.
The Padres took their batting practice for about an hour and a half this afternoon, and while they knocked the ball all over the park today, they don't expect to be a big hit with the New York fans tomorrow.
It's the Bronx Zoo. They don't call it that for nothing. It's crazy, it's loud, and you'll see things here you'll never see in any other ballpark, and you just got to take it for what it's worth and not get caught up in all the stuff that's going on around you and just try to concentrate on the game.
Few people outside San Diego are painting a picture of success for the Padres in this World Series, but New York manager Joe Torre knows that doesn't mean much. His underdog Yankees beat Atlanta back in 1996, and he knows the Padres are better than most people realize.
We know the Padres are a very good club. I think it's a good match. It's going to be a good World Series because again they're playing with a lot of confidence. They overcame a lot of things to be here.
That confidence is keeping the Padres loose, at least for now. But at the start of Game 1 tomorrow, there will be a few butterflies in the stomach.
I'm sure we'll be a little nervous tomorrow night, but right now it's practice, and we're still enjoying what we accomplished yesterday or 2 days ago. And I think we have a lot of confidence that we can continue to be successful the rest of this year and beat the Yankees.
The Padres haven't been to the Fall Classic in 14 years, but now that the drought's over, they plan to soak up every minute of the experience.
The tough part's over, I believe. The tough part's over. You come here and enjoy yourself, have fun, play baseball.
But don't think that means this team's satisfied with just getting to the World Series. Just ask Tony Gwynn. These guys are here to win it all.
One of my goals is going to be fulfilled tomorrow, and it's in the biggest stage and the biggest game. And God, you just hope that God I can contribute and do something,
They got their 2 out hits, and I tell you what, the ground balls, they hit some balls hard, but when they didn't hit it hard, they had eyes on them, and sometimes it's the ball has to bounce your way, and I think at times it did for them tonight.
The players started cleaning out their lockers first thing this morning. Tony Gwynn says it's time to play a little golf and relax. Even though the Padres didn't win the World Series, he's holding his head high.
I just think the better team won, to be honest with you. I mean, they did all the things they needed to do, and we fought hard, but we came a little bit short. And enjoy your winner, and that's how it goes. I mean, it was still a great experience. It was still, to me, what the game is all about, but we gave it a good run and fell a little bit short.
With free agency, there's no doubt that this team won't be the same next year, but the players trust the front office to put together a solid squad because the fans deserve it.
It's so great, the fans here in San Diego, they're so great for us whole year, and they support the team, and I want to say thank you for the fans, and they see next year we come in better luck.
Even the Yankees couldn't believe San Diego's support when Tim Raines played in the National League back in the 80s. He said San Diego was a completely different city.
It's grown. Fan support has gotten a lot better, and I tell you, they deserve everything they got this year.
I mean, what a tribute to Tony Gwynn. Class act, one of the greatest players I've ever played against, and San Diego should be proud.
The Yankees headed out of town this morning on a DC-10 nonstop to New York, where they'll be treated to a ticker tape parade. And for the Padres, who say we'll get them next year, well, better rest those bodies because spring training is just 3 months away.
As of right now, take a little time off, rest a little bit, give this old rickety thing a little chance to catch its breath. But it'll start back up soon enough, and just be a lot of running and trying to get things back in working order.
Steve Price, KFMB News 8.
And I want to thank Steve Price for those excellent reports. All these years later, I'm still envious he traveled with the team. A quick personal story. I was booked to fly and follow the Padres for the NLCS clincher in Atlanta, and then up to New York for the start of the World Series. But the night before the flight to Atlanta, I come down with brutal kidney stones. My name was scratched from the tickets, Price was added, and decades later, I'm introducing and tagging Steve Price stories that should have been my own. Oh well. I guess that's the way the kidney stone crumbles. All right, enough of the personal stories. On to a legend of the CBS 8 news team, Mr. Larry Himmel, a multifaceted personality here for decades. Our newsroom is named after him. Every once in a while, Larry would tell a story in poetic form, as he did in 1998 when the Padres were down 3-0 against the Yankees.
There's no joy in Mudville, in Chula Vista, or Santee. The home team's in deep trouble. To the Yankees, we're down 3.
Delivering.
The situation's not hopeless, but our chances really slim. Still, there's no reason to be bumming. Things aren't all that grim. In this season's darkest hour, it's not as bad as it seems. We've had so much joy. We've shared common dreams. We've grown up as a city, become the world's greatest fans. We raised the roof off the queue, levitated the stands.
Cone on the 1-0 pitch.
Fierce pride for our hometown and the boys who wear our name. And win, lose, or draw, things will remain the same. We'll still live on the ocean, the sun will always shine. Not in some wormy apple filled with garbage, noise, and crime. We'll all enjoy a lifestyle far better than the city that never sleeps. Because our town's filled with San Diegans, and theirs is filled with creeps. So let them bellow and taunt. Let them try to intimidate. And give them their due. New York's team is really great. Because when the series is over, and the champagne they uncork, they'll spend the rest of their miserable lives in a pit they call New York. So don't hate Yankee fans. In fact, they deserve our pity, because tomorrow morning we'll still be here in America's finest city.
Oh, Larry. He was my desk mate here at CBS 8. Brilliant writer whose personality and company I miss dearly. Great guy. All right. Time to tee up some T. Gwynn stories. Rick Powers talked to Tony about his then 12-year-old son, Tony Jr., who was the Padres' bat boy. I feed Tony's tea during hitting practice as he talks about weight loss and the upcoming season. And Steve Price looks back at the remarkable career of Mr. Padre when we lost him in June of 2014.
12 years old, size 9 shoe. I mean, he eats like a horse.
Tony Gwynn Jr. is growing fast, so when he comes to the ballpark with Dad, a snack has to follow the workout.
Basically just shag, that's it. Don't do nothing else, except for eat and drink, that's it.
On the road, Tony Jr. is the bat boy.
Very curious to see how good a player he'll become.
As far as hitting, advice from a 5-time batting champ comes in handy.
Only problem I'm having right now is hitting off of lefties because I'm a left-hander. He tells me to just keep my shoulder in and I'll be able to hit the ball the other way or take it to right field.
Here comes Gwynn. Gwynn makes the play in foul territory.
Dad is also one of the best outfielders in the league, but Tony Jr. prefers another position.
Short. I don't like the outfield because I just don't like the outfield.
And Jr. looks hot with the glove.
That deserves a wow.
Dad also teaches how to deal with the media.
Do an interview for TV people, man. Show them that you're a professional.
You gotta learn all phases of the game. And he is. But does Tony Jr. want to play pro ball?
It's a matter of keeping the grades up. If I can do that, yeah, probably.
I don't like to sit back and brag on my son, but he's starting to make some strides of being the kind of player I think he wants to be.
Little Gwynn
has the good genes, you know.
With that in mind, we could see the name Gwynn in Major League box scores well into the next century. Rick Powers, KFMB News 8.
This is a part of the job that nobody wants to do. From the day the season ended, really that's what I've been concentrating on, trying to get my legs strong.
Sure, Tony Gwynn got his 3,000th hit last year, but he also missed 10 weeks of action due to a calf injury. This offseason, he's run every day and mixed in some weightlifting. Has he lost any weight?
Not a pound. Not a pound.
He says he has redistributed some of his weight to his legs. As for the whole weight issue, he says it's a dead issue.
I just say look at the numbers. You know, because really this game is all about production. It's not, you know, beauty contest. You know, who looks the best. Because Rob Peacholo is going to win that contest on our club. I don't care how much weight I lose.
Aside from his legs, he also wants to improve the mechanics of his swing for 2000.
To me, if your mechanics are good, everything else will fall into place. And last year, my mechanics were awful.
Mechanics that produced a .338 average. That's better than most guys. As for the offseason moves made by the team, Tony says the combination of a young pitching staff and a veteran offense can make for a pretty good team.
The big picture for us is, you know, who's going to lead off and how many runs? How many runs are we going to be able to generate every day?
Questions we won't know the answer to until opening day and beyond. John Howard, KFMB News 8.
This is Tony Gwynn. How are you?
He was so easygoing, so approachable, and to top it all off, Tony Gwynn had that infectious laugh.
I missed that laugh so much, let alone our conversations and his voice, but I missed that laugh. It was just one of a kind. You couldn't hear that and think it was anybody other than T.
Ted Leitner remembers Gwynn as a teenager back at San Diego State, a kid who could barely put two words together and was good but not great, but had an amazing work ethic.
He just worked and worked and worked to become great. And he was the first to use video in Major League Baseball to look at his at-bats and how can I get better? How can I get better? I mean, his work ethic was off the chart.
Leitner says Gwynn never liked the idea of being Mr. Padre, but he did it because he knew his teammates really hated the spotlight and it took the pressure off them. But Gwynn's agent for 30 years says what the Padres outfielder did love was everything San Diego.
It was San Diego Padres, Aztec Pride, San Diego. And I think, you know, the name Mr. Padre or Mr. San Diego is so appropriate because he was one of the greatest ambassadors the city ever had.
Earlier today on Twitter, Gwynn's son, Tony Jr., tweeted, "Today I lost my dad, my best friend, and my mentor. I'm going to miss you so much, Pops. I'm going to do everything in my power to continue to make you proud."
From a community standpoint, how do you lose Junior Seau, Jerry Coleman, and Tony Gwynn? I mean, that's enough pain to go around for everybody.
Gwynn just signed a new contract as State's baseball coach, giving Leitner hope that he was getting better. So the news hit him, like all of us today, shock, sadness, disbelief.
We've been so incredibly blessed, but it's just too soon.
That it was. Tony Gwynn, a one in a million. Like Larry Himmel, a man who is sorely missed. All right, thank you so much for watching this Throwback special. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. To see more throwbacks on CBS 8+, click on the News tab at the top of the screen. I'm John Howard. We'll see you next time.